There are your paper headlines. Now, tomorrow marks the beginning of the first phase of the government's plan to ease restrictions around the coronavirus outbreak, with a phased return of outdoor workers amongst the changes.
This can bring a lot of questions and concerns from employees regarding their safety. And the Director of CIPD Ireland, Mary Connaughton, joins us now to discuss. Good morning to you, Mary. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about this, because we know it's a worrying time for many people.
It is indeed, and we've been talking about the various sectors that are going back to work tomorrow. And for many of those people, probably most of them, they've been at home on lockdown for the last number of weeks. So it is a time for a little bit of anxiety. They might feel overwhelmed and concerned. Natural feelings, I'd imagine.
Yes, indeed. And I think while one of the confusing things is who's actually going back tomorrow. So even though we talk about a number of services opening and we talk about construction opening, in fact, it's very specific groups. So in construction, it's actually the outdoor workers. It's not the whole business. And I think for a lot of people, it's understanding that people will go back in different phases. Now, we hope with a great national effort, and a lot of personal responsibility, that might improve. But anyone who's due back tomorrow should already have been told about what the company plan is for them in terms of them going back. And they should have had some induction, and that induction has been there to tell them about the social distancing that they need to implement. So the rules that we're all living with currently, like 2 metres physical distance, and continually washing our hands, and how we cough, all that will have to apply into the workplace.
Because, Mary, we've been very good at embracing this whole new way of living in terms of the ongoing hand washing, the coughing etiquette. We do need to bring that back into the workplace. The likes of no sharing of pens, cups, meeting at coffee docks. Businesses will need to guide their staff very carefully through this process, won't they?
Definitely, yes. It's going to feel quite different in any workplace, because trying to impose physical distancing is going to change, the space of desks, how people communicate with each other. It's going to have different start and end times, so a lot of people starting at different times, so everyone isn't coming in together. Maybe different routes in, different signs around the place. In some places, canteens will have to close because they won't have the actual space to meet people, so people might have to bring in their own food, and there won't be as many meetings. So it actually is going to be quite a different place. And where there isn't the opportunity to have the 2 metres physical distancing, then people are likely to be asked to wear masks. And there might be screens there, because there's a requirement to make sure that there's protection for people where the 2 metres isn't actually viable.
Mary, if a worker has any concerns about the appropriate measures being taken in their place of work, what can they do? Who can they approach?
Well, there's quite a number of ways to tackle that, because organisations, first of all, have to say who's their main COVID-19 contact that employees can go to. They can also go to their own manager. There's also going to be employee representatives appointed in workplaces for COVID-19 that they can go to, and also they'll have a health and safety representative. But what we're hearing talking to our members is that there's an awful lot of variation and new rules to apply. So really, everyone is on a learning curve. So really, we're saying try and have a weekly review of what's happening, so you can pull out what's working well, what's not working, what needs to be changed. There's a lot of information that people are trying to absorb about what this workplace is going to look like, and we don't have a rule book. So really, we're asking people to collaborate together. But in the first instance, if somebody has a concern, they should go to their manager or to their COVID-19 representative and try and get a solution to the actual issue. Fundamentally, at the end of the day, their employers have to provide a safe working environment, and the Health and Safety Authority are there to make sure organisations are complying with this. But it's an anxious time, and we're saying people really need to be considerate of other people and to collaborate together as we all try and get this right.
And I suppose businesses and retailers are all learning as we go here, Mary. So, they'll have the best of intentions, but they may have missed a trick somewhere along the way in terms of, keeping their staff and their customers safe. Will every place of work have some kind of a COVID-19 representative, and will that become law?
Well, the new government protocol has said that everywhere has to appoint one. Now, it's not actually in law, it's like recommended practice. So we would expect that workplaces are doing this and are implementing this. And really, the purpose of it is there to help employees and employers work together so that we do come up with the right sort of environment so people can work in. Because we all want to be able to actually have safe working so that more and more people can come back. But one of the key things we think is going to happen is that people are going to come back in teams. So they might be in for 2 days and then maybe working from home for a couple of days and then different people in for different 2 days. So we'll see staggered teams coming in and out to try and help that so not everyone is in the workplace at the same time.
Mary, one last question. How can employers support their employees' mental health? It's so important people feel safe in the workplace.
Yeah, we know for everybody, from family, from transport, from working, there's an awful lot, from finances, there's a lot of anxiety out there. So we're encouraging employers to put some mental health and well-being supports in place, encourage people to talk to each other to get some supports, use employee assistance programs if they have that in place. Allow people some level of flexibility to deal with the stress points. Acknowledge that it's a stressful time. Actually say, we know it's stressful for everybody, and actually to sort of acknowledge that and get people to talk about it and be able to say, actually, I'm having a tough day. It's going to be difficult too, because there will be people who are coming back to work who have been bereaved, and it's hard for colleagues to keep their distance sometime when you want to go and show your support.
So a lot of personal
responsibility.
Thank you, Mary. Some great points there. And I think it's been a wonderful exercise and a case study showing how so many people can successfully work from home. Mary Connaughton from CIPD Ireland, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us this morning.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Now, after the break, tagliatelle and meatballs for lunch. We're in the kitchen next.